It's time for another episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas, the podcast covering the intersection of business, culture, entrepreneurship, and life in general here in the Ozarks. Whether you are considering a move to this area or trying to learn more about the place you call home, we've got something special for you. Here's our host, Randy Wilburn.
Hey folks, and welcome back to another episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas. I'm your host, Randy Wilburn. I'm excited to be with you today. I have a great episode in store. I'm sitting here in the Furman Garner studio at KUAF. You guys know the routine. I have partnered up with KUAF, and I think at the time of recording this, it's still 2023. In 2024, I'm going to stop saying that I've partnered up with KUAF because you guys know that I've partnered up with KUAF. So I will leave that alone. I will always mention the fact that where I'm recording from, and in this case, I'm in the Furman Garner Performance Studio here at KUAF, and just excited to have our next guest for the I Am Northwest Arkansas podcast on here. And real quickly, I just want to tell you a story. One of the things that I really appreciate is my connection with everybody here in Northwest Arkansas. And I say it all the time, and I try to repeat it quite a bit, especially for the uninitiated that are thinking about moving here and why they should come to Northwest Arkansas. It is really a great place to come and live. People are super friendly. People really want to see other people succeed. It's not a crabs in the barrel mentality. I mean, we're all out for the same thing, right? To live life to its fullest any way that we can, both in our personal, our professional lives. And so I always enjoy getting referrals to the podcast from people that I know that I have a high degree of respect for. And Karen Wagaman from the Rogers Lowell Chamber of Commerce is one of those individuals. I've lost track of the number of people that she has actually referred to me that have actually been on the podcast, but Karen has never disappointed when it comes to a referral. And I believe that this next guest will be no exception to that rule. Karen texted me from her Rotary meeting. Shout out to the Rogers Rotary Club. She was like, oh my God, you got to hear from this great program called Soar. They are affiliated or came out of Camp War Eagle. They're amazing. They just had such a beautiful presentation. And I was like, well, I said, Karen, if you vouch for them, then I'm okay with it. And so that's why the director of development with Soar Afterschool program, Ellie Hoyt, is sitting here right in front of me here in the Furman Garner Performance Studio. So without further ado, I want to welcome Ellie Hoyt to the I Am Northwest Arkansas podcast. How are you doing, Ellie?
I am doing great, Randy. And honestly, I'm so excited to be here. I'm really grateful for this opportunity.
Yeah.
Because all of what you just said about Northwest Arkansas is something I really believe too. It's a place of amazing generosity. It's a place of people who want to be involved in their community. They want to see Northwest Arkansas thrive and grow. They want to welcome new people.
Yep.
And they want to see opportunities for Northwest Arkansas residents happening. And so I love that we get to share in that excitement together today.
I mean, it's legit. It's the truth. And I know sometimes people feel like, oh, this guy, he's just laying it on a bit too thick, right? It's like, it can't be that great. Where I live is great too. And listen, there are places all around the country that are amazing. And I've said this before, if you don't like where you are, you need to move and go to wherever you want to be. I like where I am. So yes, I'm going to talk about Northwest Arkansas till I'm blue in the face, until people recognize that, okay, this place, there's something special about this area. So, but listen, I would love for you just to kind of tell your origin story, just a little bit about who Ellie is, and then let's dive into Soar, because I think children are our future. And I know that sounds a little hokey, but we're not investing in them as much as we should be. And that's just a full stop observation, right? And I would say that most people would probably understand that comment, right? It's not an indictment on our education system. It's just simply we can be doing more.
Yes.
And we need to be doing more, because I think it's important that we sow into the next generation, into the generations after that. And if that we create a pattern that isn't interrupted when it comes to really speaking into the lives of children, encouraging them, making them realize that, hey, no matter what you hear out in the world, no matter what newspaper you read or news report you hear, you have control of your future, right? And that there are so many amazing things that you can do to create a difference. And I do believe that there are some young people walking around now from Generation Alpha and others that are going to do amazing things. They're going to design new programs from a computer perspective. They're going to help to find the cure to many diseases. There's just so much that they're going to be doing. But we sometimes have to reinforce that to these young people, right? Because they hear so much bad news that sometimes they feel like, oh, there's no hope. And I'm like, the minute that the generations that are coming up the ranks start losing hope, then we've run into a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know what you were saying, we can keep doing more. We can keep doing better for our students. And I agree with that so much too, because the challenges keep increasing. Yeah. You know, the world that they live in, it can be a difficult one. But the special thing about Soar, I think what really makes Soar an amazing program is that we believe unlimited things about our students. We believe that all students, every single student has the capacity to be a leader, not just in school, not just in these big leadership opportunities, but in their homes, in their communities. And we believe that they can be leaders now, you know, that they don't have to wait for their future. They don't have to have a certain personality or be from a certain home or be from a certain background in order to be a leader. And I think that there are so many incredible leaders in Northwest Arkansas and so many students who are going to be changing the face of Northwest Arkansas for years to come. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, they really will be. So now you've been here almost 13 years.
Yeah.
Came in 2010. What was that like coming to Northwest Arkansas?
Yeah, so we connected earlier on the fact that we are both East Coasters.
Yes, we are. I always love that when I talk to people that are from the East Coast, because, you know, I'm not from here, but I am here now. So yeah. So I moved to Northwest Arkansas in 2010 to work at Camp War Eagle. And so for the last 13 years, I've been working with nonprofit organizations that serve students and families. And, you know, first moving to Arkansas, 2010, living in Bentonville, that Bentonville was very different than the Bentonville that I live in now. And so it's been amazing to see how growth has happened, how there's been all this investment in the community. You know, I remember taking a walk one of my first weeks that I was in Bentonville, and I was at Compton Gardens, and I was looking down the hill, and there was this big construction site. And my friend was telling me, oh, yeah, this is going to be an art museum. And I thought, this is crazy. I just moved someplace that I am a mile away from an art museum. Little did I know how incredible, you know. One of the finest art museums in the world, I might add.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not every day that you stumble upon, you know, having Crystal Bridges as your neighbor.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine like somebody saying, yeah, you know, you live right down the street from the Metropolitan Museum of Art or that's MoMA or the Guggenheim or something like that. You kind of stumbled upon that, and it's special. It really is. I remember the first time I came into that valley there where Crystal Bridges sits, and I was just like, wasn't sure what to expect. And as you take that winding driveway that leads you right up to the entrance there, you're like, oh, yeah, this is cute. This is nice. I don't know. It looks good and then when you look down into the valley and you see where this museum sits, and I mean, the engineering that went into how they built it, I know the whole story, and I probably need to get those engineers on this episode of the podcast because it's really interesting what they did. I mean, that area you wouldn't think to build a facility that has some of the most priceless pieces of art in the world in a place, but it is engineered to perfection.
Yeah.
And so that's a very cool story. I love hearing that. So you've been kind of involved with kids since you got here.
Right. Yeah. So when I was working with Camp War Eagle, a lot of the focus was on mentorship of middle school students and high school students. And close to the time that I, planned to move on from Camp War Eagle, Soar started. And so Soar started as the Camp War Eagle Afterschool program. It started with about 30 or 40 kids from Jones Elementary in Springdale, meeting at the Jones Center each day. And at the time, the director of Camp War Eagle, Scott Richards, he had this vision of a place where kids could belong, a place where kids could come after school, that it would be very affordable to families, that they could just find a lot of joy in an environment where they belong and they felt welcome, that the schools could be supported. And so that was 2013. And now, about 10 years later, we have almost 600 students who are involved in the Soar After School program every day across our 5 sites. And it is an affordable program. It is no cost for all of our families. And so we partner with the hardworking families of Northwest Arkansas and our 5 incredible partner schools to make that happen. And it happens too through the generosity of our community since we are a nonprofit.
Yeah, man, I didn't realize the scope of that. So 600 kids is a lot. That's nothing to sneeze at. That's a serious after school program. I remember growing up and going to an after school program only because my father was the art teacher at that program. And there was always somebody at home. I mean, I was a latchkey kid, but my grandmother was always home. So it wasn't like I didn't come home to anyone. But for a lot of these kids whose parents are working, they need to go have a place to go where they can kind of transition before the end of the day. And I mean, I love what you guys are doing. So can you walk through how many schools, where are the schools that participate in this? Is it all in Springdale?
So we have 4 schools in Springdale, and it's all in the downtown area or close to it. So Bayari Elementary, George Elementary, Parson Hills Elementary, and Jones. And then in Rogers, we have Grace Hill Elementary, which is in East Rogers.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so is the goal, I mean, obviously 5 schools, obviously it takes money to do this. If you had more money, could you do it in more schools? Is it that simple of an equation?
I think it's definitely a piece, and we have a lot of schools who have reached out to us and they've said, we would love to have Soar at our school. We would love to, have this program to partner with our families. And so funding is a big part of it. It's also us being a decently young organization still. We have to think about how it is that we can best grow to make sure that our organization stays really strong. It has been amazing, the number of young people that we've found in Northwest Arkansas who really want to make a difference working at the Soar After School program. A lot of our staff are U of A students, some that are interested in education, some that after they work at Soar for a little while, they become education majors, which is amazing. We love that for Northwest Arkansas too. But yeah, I think that growth is something that we really, really want to happen for Soar. We know that would be a benefit to our community. It takes a lot of things, but I think that we are definitely on our way, with the support and the celebration that we have from the community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So really, it's not a question of, like if the city of Fayetteville or the city of Bentonville want you guys. It's more a matter of when ultimately you can kind of do that, I'm assuming. Yeah. So walk me through, what is the typical experience for a Soar student to go through your program? And ultimately, what are you, you have a little bit of a track record now. What are you seeing as the outcome of these young people participating in the SOAR program?
So much like any other after school program, we start by meeting the basics. We make sure they get a snack at the end of their school
Kids
day.
Kids got to have a snack, trust me.
Yeah, we make sure, that they have time to run around, to hang out with their friends, to play. But then we also make sure that they are getting their homework done. That is something that from the beginning, we wanted to make this promise to our families of when your child comes to SOAR, their homework is going to be done. They're going to be able to go home, spend time with their family. But in addition to all of that, we partner with the schools to make sure that we are helping to fill the gaps that might be missing in the school day. So we provide a lot of science and STEM education. We make sure that they are focused on their math skills that they're building, their reading skills that they're building, so that when they go to school, they can not just be there and exist, but they can be thriving in everything that's happening in their education. And we have a lot of values within the SOAR family, values of we want our students to be able to face challenges, find solutions, and try new things. And we call that Rise Up.
Okay.
And so all of those basics of their academics, the snacks, the free time, the fun, all of that is surrounded by community, by a group of people who they believe in our students as leaders. They believe in the great things that they're capable of. And so all of our staff, they create an environment of belonging. They create an environment where it's safe to fail. It's safe to try new things. We celebrate the failures because that's what it takes to grow. And so, yeah, community is a huge part. You heard me say a moment ago, SOAR family. We really believe that SOAR is a family, not just for the students in our program, but for anybody who's involved in it. The parents, guardians, the family units that surround the students, our staff, our volunteers, the schools. Yeah, it really is so much about community and that support and the belonging that we believe is necessary, not just for students to be able to get their work done and be great students and do well in their academics, but we know that that support is so important as they grow and as they develop.
Yeah. So it sounds like you guys are more than just an after-school babysitter. That's not what you guys do at all. Soar is a lot more than that. You guys are dishing out some self-esteem, some encouragement, some structure, all things that kids need, right? I mean, when you think of just those, I'm just coming off stuff off the top of my head, but I'm like, all these kids need some self-esteem. These kids need some structure. They need some encouragement. I think about, don't judge me, folks, listening to this, but I have really, my youngest is 13 and he loves watching TikTok and Instagram, but I'm constantly on him about what he's watching because unfortunately, we now have this technology that's at our disposal where these kids are being fed a lot of information that in some instances is purely misinformation. But then in other instances, it's just bad information that they probably should not be consuming. And I'm not even talking about the really bad stuff. I'm just talking about in general, right? And so I think especially as impressionable as young people are between that 4th and 8th grade area, we got to do all that we can to create safe spaces and opportunities for these individuals, these young people to fully develop and mature. And I know I'm preaching to the choir with you, right? Because you understand all of that. And I tell people all the time, and I remind my kids of this. And for those of you that are parents with younger children, recognize that, even at 18, our kids are not going to be fully developed. And especially boys. Boys take a much longer time than young ladies will develop and mature a lot faster. But, I think it's, what is it said? The frontal cortex of a boy's brain doesn't really develop until their late 20s.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of room for improvement and patience in that process. But I think what Soar is doing and how you go about doing it plays a huge role in helping these young people develop. And especially since a lot of your schools and the schools that you identified are in areas where there are a lot of families that really need help.
Yeah. And you know what? I think, too, that it really is an honor for us to partner with the families that make up Soar.
Yeah.
And what you were talking about, too, with like growth and development of students. And I think at Soar, we want to help build a foundation for our students. A really big thing for us is teaching our students how to connect and communicate with others. And so if we can get our students, oh my gosh, yes. If we can get our students to understand that they have the ability to connect with anyone and how to do that, by introducing themselves, by asking questions, by being open to being friends with people who are different than they are.
Yeah.
I think even just that little piece sets up a huge opportunity for all that they can become in their future, for all that they can develop. So often we hear from our donors or volunteers or other stakeholders, I wish that I was learning these skills that students at Soar are learning right now.
I need that. Yeah.
And that for me,
true.
that for me is 100% the case. And I think that because from the beginning, we've had this belief that students are capable of learning. They are capable of doing amazing things. They're capable of overcoming difficulties, of facing challenges, of finding solutions. Since they're capable of all that, we're able to set a high expectations that students are honestly really eager to meet.
Yeah.
They're eager to connect with others. They're really eager to see their communication skills grow and develop. And that's something too that I would love for Northwest Arkansas to see about Soar, so that we as a community can believe these incredible things about the students who are not just involved in Soar, but students all over Northwest Arkansas, whether it's in Fayetteville, Springdale, Bentonville, Rogers, and in every single neighborhood.
Yeah. And it's funny, I'm curious to know, and I don't know how much you know about the history of this, even though you've been around for quite some time, but was there a program and or platform that you guys witnessed at Camp War Eagle that was kind of like the model for what you wanted Soar to be? And just before you answer that, I also want to just say to anyone that's listening, if you have young kids that are, because Camp War Eagle's between what age and what age?
Well, depending on if it's like the overnight camp.
I'm talking specifically about the overnight camp.
I believe it's 7 or 8 to 17.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. And this is they're not paying me for this. Camp War Eagle, hands down, is one of the greatest camp experiences that you will ever have.
Yes.
And every time I go there to drop my kid off, I'm like, I wish I could stay. And it's not for the water slides and all that stuff, but just the whole environment. I mean, they have a little bit of everything. And you talk about, exposing your kids to things that they don't normally get exposed to. I mean, I went on overnight camp, so I got exposed to the great outdoors and just experienced life in a different way and got away from the city so that I could, see how things were done in other environments, and also to become more self-reliant and recognize that I could solve some problems myself. And that's the experience that my son has taken every year that he's gone to Camp War Eagle, both for the day camp as well as the overnight camp. And so shout out to Camp War Eagle. They've done a great job. If you're just listening to this and you're moving to this area and you've heard about Camp War Eagle, I'm telling you, you could do a lot worse, but you could definitely send your kid to Camp War Eagle and they would be amazing. And they can go for a week. They can go for multiple weeks. I mean, there are plenty of options, and it is one of the most well-run programs I've ever witnessed.
Yes,
it really is. Incredible. It is incredible. So, and I'll put a link to the Camp War Eagle site on the show notes, along with obviously Soar and Ellie's contact information. So should you have any questions, she has experience with Camp War Eagle. She can certainly direct you, but I just wanted to give them a shout out because they have been so special, not just to my family, but to other families that I know here in Northwest Arkansas. Mm-hmm. So that is a resource that we have available to us. And I would encourage folks to utilize it to the best of their ability. Now, back to my original question, was there a model for Soar that you guys leaned on as you started that program?
Yeah, I think in a number of ways. I think about the people who were in Soar at the very beginning. I think about myself, our executive director, Ben Radisky. We both spent many years with camp. And something that I love about Camp War Eagle is that Camp War Eagle is for all kids.
Yeah.
It is for all kids. It's not just for a certain group or a certain population, but it's for all kids. And one of the most beautiful things about Camp War Eagle is if you go to Camp War Eagle and you're in a cabin and you see all of the kids or the campers who are in that cabin, it is a slice of Northwest Arkansas.
It really is. It really is.
You have kids from different backgrounds, from different places in Northwest Arkansas. And for that week or those 2 weeks, the kids in that cabin get to have this experience of connecting deeply with others who they might not have come across otherwise.
Sure.
Which I think is really special. And that was one thing that definitely informed, as we were building Soar, that mindset of this is going to be a place where people connect, where our students understand that there's so much more that unites us, so much more that brings us together than that divides us.
Sure.
I think additionally, Camp War Eagle for myself and probably for Ben as well, there's a big emphasis on effort and enthusiasm. Giving your all to the things that you do and doing it with enthusiasm, with excitement.
Yeah.
And I see how that definitely has pervaded the culture of Soar over the years. At camp, they call them the 3 flames, the maximum effort, maximum enthusiasm, and true sportsmanship. And that's something that, in my early 20s when I was at Camp War Eagle, it was for the kids that we said that. But for me, that was a huge part of my development as a leader, is those 3 things. And we have definitely carried that into the way that we think about Soar, the way that we think about our students, the way that we think about the work that we put in, and really the environment of celebration that I think we've created for our students comes from that effort and that enthusiasm mindset that camp taught us,
Yeah. Well, and it's funny you mentioned that as I'm sitting here listening to the word choice that you've made to describe your experience there. And then I think about my wife and I were commenting when the last time we dropped our son off, which was just this past late July, the enthusiasm for every person there, and I'm speaking specifically of the counselors, the people that are in charge of your kids when they get there. I did not meet a person that wasn't just bowled over with excitement. I I'm like, for an adult that's kind of jaded, and I'm 54, so I've kind of been around, done all that. And I'm like, okay, relax. I know it's not that exciting, but it really is. Mm-hmm. And I mean, everybody operates with a spirit of excellence, and that permeates into the kids.
Yeah,
it really does. Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's just, again, another shout out to just the whole process. And I think, again, kids need those examples. Because even our teachers sometimes, they're so beaten down by the system, right? And I'm using air quotes now, and I'm not complaining about one system or another. It's just the educational system in our country has challenges. It just does. I don't care who you are, and you can fight me all you want about that. But I'm the child of educators. Both my parents were taught in schools. My mom taught for 35 years in the public schools. I know it's not easy, but there's hope, right? And I think, programs like what Camp War Eagle's doing and what has grown out of that with the Soar program give me hope that, hey, we can get over this. Mm-hmm. I can't reach every kid, but every time I come in contact with a kid, I'm trying to encourage them and look them in the eye and rip their hand off when I shake it to show them that you've got to show people that you're alive and that you want to be counted. And so I just think it's important. And again, I'll get off my soapbox and give it back to you so that you can continue to share about Soar. But I just think people need to hear that there are programs out there that are making a difference. And your program isn't the only one, but there are a lot of them. My thing is, as adults especially, how do we support your efforts and what you're doing so that you guys can be the best version of yourselves, so that you can, open up in new areas and new schools? What can the local public here in Northwest Arkansas do to help Soar?
That is a great question. And we spoke earlier about how Soar has been made possible because of the generosity of Northwest Arkansas. And it's amazing that we get to have this program in a place where there are so many corporations that are eager to give, a place where people are eager to volunteer. And Soar has always been a nonprofit program, and in 2020, we separated from Camp War Eagle for the purposes of being able to continue to grow and open up some new opportunities. And Camp War Eagle remains an incredible supportive partner, but we have also been able to develop some other partnerships as well. And I think what the Soar family wants Northwest Arkansas to see is the possibility for Northwest Arkansas students. We also want our students to be able to see that the community has care and excitement about them.
Yeah.
And so when we host events like our Northwest Arkansas Amazing Shake and our Soar Amazing Shake, we have volunteers come in and they see how our students are thriving. They see how our students are, trying difficult things and finding solutions and facing challenges and all of that. And yeah, it's wonderful for the community to be able to represent all different forms of what a leader is to our students. That is really, really important to us, that our students see a leader is all different things. And there are so many people in our community that lead in different ways, that lead with different personalities, that lead with different skills. And we believe that is you all, that the students are going to be those leaders in the future that support their community and that look out for young people and encourage them to grow and to try new things.
Yeah. No, so well said. I mean, it is definitely, it does take a village, right?
Yeah.
A little bit of everybody getting involved and helping out. So you mentioned the Soar Amazing Shake and the Northwest Arkansas Amazing Shake competition. Mm-hmm. Tell us the genesis of this competition and why it's so important. It's an event that you do every year. Mm-hmm. It's not really a fundraiser, right? It's just for you guys to create a competition for the kids.
Yeah, so the Amazing Shake started with the Ron Clark Academy, which is this incredible school in Atlanta. There are lots of things that we do at Soar that have been inspired by RCA. And so RCA, they really encourage other schools, organizations to duplicate what they're doing with the Amazing Shake. And we have been doing Amazing Shake now for, I think, 6 or 7 years, which is awesome. And the Ron Clark Academy has given us incredible support. They're really behind what we have duplicated here in Northwest Arkansas. And so we started with the Soar Amazing Shake, where we had 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders in our program participating in this competition that puts to test the public speaking, communication skills that they are practicing at Soar. We start with a competition called the Gauntlet, where they have about 30 different scenarios that are 1 minute each. And it's something like they have to give a presidential press conference where they're asked, like, what are you going to do as a president in your first 100 days in office? Or they have to go on the Tonight Show and they have to tell a funny story. It's about, making a good first impression, about how do you handle different situations with confidence, with charm, with the ability to think on your feet. But yeah, then the competition moves on into like a networking round, into a question and answer round, into a sit-down dinner where they're connecting with area professionals just to have connections, to make conversation over dinner, to show the manners that they've been learning. And yeah, honestly, it is so much fun. Everyone who comes and takes part in it, they say, this was amazing. I did not anticipate that I was going to have this much fun, that I was going to be this impressed by the students. But really, our belief is if you set a high standard, if you create an environment where students feel like, I can do this, and if I fail, it's going to be okay, but I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try. Like, they will exceed your expectations every time. And so, yeah, a few years ago, we decided we wanted to offer this not just to our students at Soar, but to Northwest Arkansas as a whole. And so now the Northwest Arkansas Amazing Shake, which happens every spring, we invite any student in Northwest Arkansas, 4th through 8th grade, to participate. A lot of times schools will pick, 8 to 10 students that they'll bring. Families will bring their kids. It can be homeschool, private school, public school. Any kid 4th through 8th grade can participate in this and have those same challenges tested. And it's really been a wonderful thing for the community.
Oh, man, you got to love that. Now, do the kids get a prize for participating in the program, or is there are there levels of awards that are given out?
Yeah, so typically with the Soar Amazing Shake, we have about 75 to 90 students who are participating. And then that gets whittled down to about 5 for the finals. And then this upcoming year, the finalist, the champion, will receive a $500 scholarship that's put into a Arkansas 529 account. So this has been made possible through the Heather White Legacy Fund. Heather White was our former board president, and she called herself Soar's biggest cheerleader, and she really had a vision for creating that opportunity. And so in her memory, her family established this fund, and people have been donating to it in the hopes that we can continue to provide this contribution to our students in celebration of their hard work and their efforts in the competition. And for Northwest Arkansas, we also provide opportunities for the school that the student comes from to be celebrated and funds to go back to that school as well.
I love that. Love that. Yeah. So everybody has to get involved. I have to tell my 8th grader about this.
Yeah, he should do it.
I'd love for him to get involved with this program. And anybody listening to this, I know we have some homeschool parents that listen to the podcast. Certainly want to encourage you to get your kids involved, because it would really be very beneficial for them to get that positive reinforcement. So yeah, that's exciting. That's really exciting. So what does the future hold for Soar? I mean, what are you hoping to accomplish in the next couple of years? I mean, I'm sure you have, as this area continues to grow, the need for what Soar is doing is only going to grow. So what are you guys thinking about in terms of growth and what you'd like to see happen in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah. I think a huge part of our DNA as an organization is we want our staff and our students to all embrace what it looks like to dream of big things. And I mentioned Heather White earlier, our former board president, and she was a volunteer who decided this is something that I really want to invest my time in. And she invested in so many ways, but a big legacy she leaves as well is the ability to dream big dreams for the program. And I think that that's something that we all celebrate and remember about her. And I think that a major goal of ours is to see our program be sustainable for years and years to come. It is an incredible thing that we are able to offer a safe, quality place for almost 600 kids in Northwest Arkansas every day.
Yeah.
And that is made possible by the generosity of our community. And so it is really important for us to be able to know, like, this is going to be something that our families can anticipate and expect, not just to send their current kids, but to send their kids right now who, are 2-3 years old, and they're excited to have the same experience for those kids as they did for the ones who are currently in the program. And so sustainability is a huge thing, sustaining our programs so that they can not just exist, but that they can thrive. I think we want to be able to continue offering this program to more schools potentially, and so that's something that we don't want to just rush into it. We want to make sure that as we're adding new programs, that the foundation of our program is going to be really strong, that
that's
growth
scalable.
That's scalable, that growth is a really, really healthy and positive thing. And I think we would love to see more students involved in the Northwest Arkansas Amazing Shake, more organizations, more corporations, more of like the incredible businesses that make up Northwest Arkansas involved in contributing to what we have going on, because we know that it's special.
Yeah.
We know that it's something that can really continue to bring change and possibility to Northwest Arkansas. And that's also why I was so excited to come here and talk to you today, because I love Soar. I love Soar so much, and I am so excited for people to join into that joy that's part of the Soar family.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the folks that are listening can't see the smile on your face, but I can see the passion that you have for this emanating from you. And I certainly applaud your efforts and the hard work that you and Ben and the rest of the team are putting in to make this happen and sowing into the next generation. I think it's important. I think as a society, we collectively need to be supporting anyone that is supporting the next generation or the generations to come, because it's important. It's one of the reasons why, I really like supporting teachers and what they do, because I mean, these are the people that have our next generation in their hands and on a daily basis. And so do you guys at Soar. So I just wish you nothing but continued success. People that are listening to this, if they're like, you know what, I want to give of my time with this organization. I want to give of my talent. I want to give of my resources. How best can they contact you and get in touch with what you're doing? Yeah,
so I love that question because I want to make connection happen for the Soar family. The best way to reach out to me is just by email, ellie@soarafterschool.com. That's ELLIE at soarafterschool.com. You can also find us on social media at Soar After School. You can find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and just connect. If there's something that people are passionate about that they would like to share with our students, that's something that we are always open to, because we know that all of our students, they are individuals who are going to have different things that they're excited about, different things that they enjoy learning about. And I think embracing that diversity of possibility is really important to the Soar family. I think, our Amazing Shake programs, whether it's the Soar Amazing Shake or the NWA Amazing Shake, it does take a lot of volunteers and sponsors to make it happen. And so that is a very tangible need that we love seeing that filled by our generous community as well.
Yeah. Now, and I meant to ask you this, is the event, is it just a one-day event?
So for the NWA Amazing Shake, it's 2 days in 2024. It'll be April 11th and 12th. That first day gives the students the option to practice. We have some practice rounds. We have a celebration for them. We sort of set the stage of this is what's going to be happening on the day of the competition. We have a big dance party for them so that they know, like this is a place that we want you to have fun. We want you to get excited about. And then the second day is when the whole competition happens. For Soar Amazing Shake, we have one day that they compete, and then the finals happen a few weeks later. Yeah.
Because they're already in the program. And so, I got you. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. All right, cool. Well, we'll be sure to put all of that in the show notes so that anyone listening to this has information about how to get in touch with Ellie, how to start following Soar After School on social media. We'll put all of that in the show notes so that you guys can start following these guys and supporting them, spreading the word. I'd love to see them double in size from 600 students to 1,200 students. So I know Ellie's eyes opened up wide, like, wow, that's a lot of kids. But yes, but
exciting.
To whom much is given, much is expected. So I'm going to Uncle Ben you a little bit like Spider-Man and say, hey, when you have great power like this, right? I mean, you have the ability to influence another generation. The expectations are always going to be high, but nobody's expecting you to do it alone. So I know that there's some people listening to this that are like, Randy, I'm raising my hand. I want to help out Ellie and Ben and the rest of the team at Soar Afterschool, or I'm an educator in the area and I want to figure out what I can do to get Soar. I've heard about it. Now I know more and I want to get them involved in, what I'm doing. So I certainly want to encourage anybody listening to this that's already in Northwest Arkansas to get involved with Soar, see what they're doing. I'm going to throw myself out there and get involved and I don't know exactly what I'll do, but I'm going to do something along with this amazing shake because I believe in that type of program because I think it will make a difference in the lives of our young people. So Ellie Hoyt, thank you so much for joining us. And this is a new role for you as Director of Development. So This is exciting. And you are taking it on with gusto, I might add. So we wish you nothing but continued success. And when you're not forming and changing and developing the minds of the next generation here in Northwest Arkansas, what do you like to do for fun around here?
Oh, man. And, there's so much.
I don't mean to put you on the spot. So I know there is a lot. We've already said Crystal Bridges. So.
Yeah, love Crystal Bridges. My husband is a musician, and so we like to do a lot of the music things around Northwest Arkansas.
Which there are a lot.
Yeah, the Folk School of Fayetteville.
Yes.
I love
Shout out to Brian and Bernice.
Yeah, Folk School of Fayetteville is really great. A lot of great concerts are, happening at the Momentary. And I love the food of Northwest Arkansas too.
Yeah. It's legit.
Yeah.
Will you make anybody mad if you name your favorite place?
It has to be Pizzeria Ruby.
Oh,
it's so good. It's so good. And
Chef Michael Robert Shaw, I hope you're listening.
Yeah.
I hope you're listening. He is supposed to come on the podcast. We're going to work it out in 2024. He's been super busy. They have changed their hours a couple of different times, but some of the best pizza that you're going to find. And
yes.
as a person from the East Coast, you know about good pizza like
exactly.
I know about good pizza. Not that people in Northwest Arkansas don't know about good pizza, but Pizzeria Ruby is legit.
It is.
And definitely well worth the effort to get over there and check them out. So if you do go to Pizzeria Ruby, tell them that Ellie Hoyt from Soar Afterschool or Randy from I Am Northwest Arkansas sent you, and they'll take good care of you. So without further ado, I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Ellie, for coming on with us. I'm sorry Ben could not make it, but you were amazing. I appreciate you taking the time to kind of share your passion and the story of Soar Afterschool. And now that I really understand and know about what you guys are doing, I'm all in to help you in any way that I can. So I wish you nothing but continued success. And I hope that 2024 and beyond is simply amazing for you.
Thank you. That is really a wonderful thing to hear. And this has been really fun.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed talking with you, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sure this won't be your last podcast. So, well, folks, that's another episode of the I Am Northwest Arkansas podcast. To learn more about us or to read or download the show notes from today's episode that I talked about earlier, visit iamnorthwestarkansas.com. You can listen to this podcast and sign up for our free newsletter to keep up with us and all things NWA. Sign up today. You can subscribe to the I Am Northwest Arkansas podcast wherever you listen to it. And please, please, please consider rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. Or you can also do, I always say Apple Podcasts because that's our preferred program platform, but you can do it on Spotify. You can do it on Amazon. It doesn't really matter. Tune in. There's a lot of different options, but Apple Podcasts is where we prefer to get reviewed. And so if you have the time to do it, feel free to do it. Remember, sharing is caring. So we would love to have you do that and say a word about our podcast. And of course, even if there's room for improvement, let us know. Remember, our podcast comes out every Monday, rain or shine. I'm your host, Randy Wilburn, and we will see you back here next week for another new episode of the I Am Northwest Arkansas podcast. Peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of I Am Northwest Arkansas. Check us out each and every week, available anywhere that great podcasts can be found. For show notes or more information on becoming a guest, visit IamNorthwestArkansas.com. We'll see you next week on I Am Northwest Arkansas.